News alerts flashed across screens. US imposes sweeping tariffs on Chinese goods. Beijing vows to retaliate. Global markets plunge. The world watched in disbelief as the headlines rolled in, signaling the start of a conflict that would shake the foundations of the global economy. The world, used to a stable economic order, was suddenly on edge. Investors, business owners, and ordinary citizens alike felt a wave of anxiety ripple through their daily lives. For decades, the US-China relationship powered globalization. China made, America bought. This system had become the backbone of international trade, connecting factories in Shenzhen to shopping malls in Chicago. This partnership lifted millions from poverty and filled American homes with affordable goods. It created jobs, built fortunes, and made products from smartphones to sneakers accessible to people everywhere. But that day, the engine stalled. Production lines slowed, and uncertainty crept into boardrooms and factory floors on both sides of the Pacific. The era of easy cooperation was over. Decades of negotiation and compromise gave way to suspicion and confrontation. In Washington, tariffs were framed as a necessary correction to years of unfair trade and intellectual property theft. Politicians argued that America had been taken advantage of, and it was time to fight back. The goal: protect American jobs and industries. Leaders promised to revive manufacturing and restore lost livelihoods, appealing to workers who felt left behind by globalization. But this wasn't just business, it was a clash of superpowers. The world's two largest economies were now locked in a high-stakes contest for dominance, with political and strategic implications far beyond trade. In Beijing, the response was swift. State media called the tariffs economic bullying, rallying public opinion against what they saw as foreign aggression. China announced its own retaliatory tariffs, framing the conflict as a matter of national pride. The message was clear: China would defend its interests at any cost. President Xi's message: China would not be pushed around. He called for unity and resilience, urging the nation to stand firm in the face of external pressure. The stage was set for a drawn-out conflict. Negotiations became tense, with each side digging in, preparing for a prolonged battle that could reshape the global landscape. Financial markets reacted instantly. Stocks tumbled, supply chains wobbled. Investors scrambled to assess the risks, while companies braced for disruption. Businesses that relied on stable US-China trade were suddenly in the crossfire. Costs rose, uncertainty spread, and the future of countless enterprises hung in the balance. The trade war was no longer a distant threat. It was here, affecting everyone from Iowa farmers to Shenzhen factory workers. Everyday people, once removed from global politics, now felt the impact in their paychecks and daily routines. The world braced for a new era of economic rivalry. Old alliances were tested, and new strategies were urgently needed to navigate the shifting landscape. The rules had changed, and no one knew what would come next. Uncertainty became the new normal. As leaders and citizens alike searched for answers, the global order was being rewritten in real time. As the dust settled, one thing was clear: the world would never be the same again. Tariffs and trade deficits quickly became more than just headlines. They turned into real-world pain, felt in boardrooms, on factory floors, and in everyday life across continents. In the heartland of America, Midwest soybean farmers lost their biggest market overnight. Prices crashed, crops piled up in silos, and livelihoods hung in the balance. For many, years of hard work and planning seemed to unravel in a matter of weeks, leaving families and entire communities uncertain about their future. Meanwhile, in China's sprawling industrial cities, factories faced canceled orders and sudden layoffs as American importers hesitated. Production lines slowed, and the hum of industry faded, threatening the stability of entire regions. Migrant workers, who had traveled far from home for opportunity, saw their dreams fade as jobs disappeared. Many were forced to return to rural villages, uncertain if they would ever find steady work again. Back in the US, American consumers felt the pinch as prices for everyday goods, washing machines, bikes, even pet food, crept up. Shoppers found themselves comparing price tags more carefully, stretching budgets to cover the basics. Chinese shoppers, too, paid more for iPhones and American cars. The cost of imported goods rose, making once affordable luxuries harder to reach for many families. The interconnectedness that once brought prosperity now revealed its risks. Global supply chains, once seamless, became tangled and unpredictable, exposing vulnerabilities in the world economy. Tech companies scrambled to reroute supply chains, searching for new partners and suppliers. But shifting decades of infrastructure was slow, complicated, and costly, with no easy solutions in sight. Chinese firms, suddenly cut off from US components, faced their own crisis. Production lines stalled, and managers scrambled to find alternatives, fearing long-term damage to their businesses. The trade war forced businesses everywhere to rethink global strategy. Borders, once blurred by commerce, mattered again. Every shipment, every deal, now came with new risks and regulations. The world was fracturing, and companies had to pick sides. In this new era, every decision carried weight, shaping the future of global trade and the lives of millions. The trade war quickly morphed into a battle for technological supremacy. The real fight was over semiconductors, AI, 5G, and quantum computing. Washington saw China's tech ambitions as a threat to national security. The US blacklisted Huawei, cutting it off from American technology. China saw this as an existential threat, a wake-up call to end its reliance on foreign tech. Beijing poured resources into building its own chip industry and tech ecosystem. The world began to split into two tech spheres. Countries had to choose between Silicon Valley and Shenzhen. This digital divide wasn't just about hardware, but about who sets the rules for the future. The battle for tech dominance would shape the global order for decades. Under mounting global pressure, China doubled down on self-reliance. Zili Gengsheng, determined to chart its own course in a rapidly changing world. President Xi Jinping revived this revolutionary idea, urging the nation to innovate, manufacture, and advance on its own terms, free from foreign dominance. The escalating trade war with the United States became a powerful catalyst for transformation, forcing China to rethink its economic dependencies. In response, China supercharged ambitious programs like Made in China 2025, pouring billions into robotics, electric vehicles, aerospace, and especially semiconductors, sectors seen as the backbone of future global power. The goal was clear: leapfrog foreign suppliers, close the technology gap, and become a global leader in innovation and advanced manufacturing. China also reoriented its global ties, deepening trade and investment with Europe, as well as strengthening partnerships across Southeast Asia, Africa, and Latin America, regions eager for Chinese investment and infrastructure. New trade agreements, like the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, were signed, deliberately excluding the US and shifting the balance of global commerce. China aimed to build a world economy less centered on Washington, creating new trade routes and financial networks that put Beijing at the center. The era of hide your strength, bide your time, once championed by Deng Xiaoping, was decisively over. Now China sought to co-author or even lead a new global order, one where its voice and interests would shape the future. Its ambition was not just material wealth, but a restored centrality and respect on the world stage, reclaiming its historical influence. The transformation was bold and risky, with the world watching to see if China's grand strategy for self-reliance will truly succeed. China is no longer just the world's factory. It's racing to become its research lab. The trade war accelerated this pivot. The government pushed companies to move up the value chain, creating their own brands and technologies. Tech hubs in Shenzhen and Beijing buzzed with entrepreneurs building global giants like Alibaba, Tencent, and ByteDance. These firms pioneered new business models, showing China could innovate, not just imitate. Massive state support fueled this drive, with subsidies and ambitious national goals. The result: a hybrid system where government direction meets private energy. But true innovation requires risk-taking and openness, qualities still developing in China's system. The challenge: can China's top-down approach spark the creative breakthroughs needed to lead the world? The answer will define its future. China's ambition faces serious internal threats. The property market crisis has left giants like Evergrande teetering, shaking public confidence. Decades of the one-child policy mean a shrinking, aging population, fewer workers, more retirees, and a looming demographic crunch. China's growth model relied on exports and investment, not domestic consumption. Weak consumer demand and high savings are vulnerabilities. If global demand falters, China's own consumers may not fill the gap. The government is racing to fix these issues while waging a tech war and projecting power abroad. The very model that fueled China's rise now creates new risks. Overcoming these internal cracks is as crucial as competing with the US. China's greatest obstacle may be itself. Beijing's answer is the dual circulation strategy. The plan relies on China's vast domestic market for growth, while engaging globally on its own terms. Boosting internal circulation means raising wages, improving social safety nets, and encouraging spending. The goal transforms savers into consumers, making China less dependent on exports. Externally, China aims to export high-value goods and diversify trade partners, reducing reliance on the US and Europe. Securing supply chains for critical resources is key. Dual circulation is a declaration of economic independence. By building a strong internal market, China hopes to withstand external shocks. By reshaping its global role, it seeks dominance in key industries. It's a bold vision for a new era of Chinese power. The Belt and Road Initiative, BRI, is China's most ambitious global project. Launched in 2013, it aims to build a modern Silk Road, ports, railways, and highways linking China to Europe, Africa, and Asia. On the surface, it's about trade and development, but it's also about expanding China's influence. China finances and builds infrastructure in over 150 countries, offering an alternative to Western loans. Critics warn of debt traps and strategic takeovers, like Sri Lanka's Hambantota port. Environmental concerns and lack of transparency fuel suspicion. The US and allies see BRI as a tool for Chinese geopolitical power. Despite controversy, BRI is rewiring global trade around Beijing. By building infrastructure, China sets technical standards and opens markets for its companies. The message: China isn't just joining the global order, it's building a new one. The world is witnessing the great decoupling, US and China drifting apart, reshaping the global landscape. The era of seamless integration is over, rival blocs and competing tech standards are emerging. China bets it can achieve self-sufficiency and lead a new economic sphere, drawing in Asia, Africa, and Latin America. If successful, a bipolar world will emerge, with nations navigating between two superpowers. But China's internal challenges, debt, demographics, and backlash to its assertiveness are daunting. Many countries resist choosing sides, wary of a new great power conflict. China's quest for independence is a high-stakes gamble. The outcome will shape the 21st century, a new order or a gamble gone too far. The world watches as China tries to fly on its own wings.